Welcome back, everybody. That's the little introduction video from Battlefront. And if you're not listening on the podcast, if you're on the live show, we've got up the Battlefront website that you can go to and find out more about the field also. So how did you choose? There's so many paintball fields across the country. How the heck did you narrow it down to one field?
You know, it really wasn't hard at all. If you've taken a look at that field from that small little video that you have, and if you go on their website at www.battlefrontpaintball.com, hit their gallery of photos, you'll see just how incredible that place actually is. It's probably the most realistic battle or field in the country. I mean, it's a bombed out city, straight out of the pages of World War II magazine. I mean,
Wow.
It's there. Everything that you need to play on is right in that place. And they've put some work into the place. They've put up some towers, and they've made like a storming the beaches of Normandy type atmosphere on one side of the field, so that we've got a little bit of variation. It's not just a town. And he's done a lot of improvements over the years, and he's got plans to doing a lot more expansion on it. I picked it because it hit me right away for what we're trying to do. We needed a place that was big enough. That's 94 acres out there. We needed a place that had a central location of a place to everybody's trying to meet at. It's there. And that's what I mean by that. Two things, actually. They're in Ohio, which is the center of the country, somewhat towards the Midwest there. And the other part is their field actually has that town situated right in the middle of their grounds. So I'm able to put two bases, one at each side.
It's pretty awesome. If you're listening on the podcast, you really got to go and check it out. www.battlefrontpaintball.com. Click on the gallery, and there's several pictures. Right now I'm showing the aerial picture, and there's a blue outline, and in the middle you can actually see the city that Jim's talking about.
Yep.
It's pretty bitchin'. So all of the games this year are going to be held at this field, or are you going to move it around the country?
You know, all the games this year will be at that field. I've been in talks with Vulcan Sports. They're trying to get me to do this in other parts of the country next year, sort of like a traveling type thing. And I really believe that if I could find another place it's somewhat like this, I'd still like to have one event every year at Battlefront. It's just an awesome place. But if people out there know fields that are similar to that and think that this event might work for them, give us a call. You know, my number's listed on the website. We'll be more than happy to look at it. But we're really shooting for realism here. And if we get something a little bit more, you know, maybe something a little bit different than what Battlefront's got, then next year we could plan to do something out there. I remember the first time that I ever played paintball it was a long time ago. Let's just put it that way. And the first time that I ever played was on a place, and I'll mention these guys, maybe they're listening, was at Stalker Paintball Games in Wisconsin Dells. And I got drawn into the fact that I'd never done it before. For one, I was walking down the street in a little resort town called the Dells there in Wisconsin, and they had a storefront up, and the storefront had a bunch of, like, a target range, I guess you want to call it. And he said, "Hey, come on over here, try this out." And I picked up a gun and I shot it, and I said, "Man, it's just like shooting a real gun." And he said, "Yeah, it's pretty much the way it is." He said, "You ever play paintball?" And I went through the la-di-da. And finally I said, "I'll come back out the next weekend." And they had such a huge place. But what was missing from the event was and I'm not saying that everybody doesn't have this, but what's missing from paintball is organization. And I don't mean organization to where, you got to follow orders and you got to do it this way. What I mean is some type of structure that makes it different than just running around and shooting each other in the woods, And a lot of guys have decided to do that by adding scenarios to their games, and Battlefront's one of them. They do great scenario games there. But even that needs some structure more than that. I think if you can get people involved in an experience that'll keep them busy for 5 days, who wouldn't want to do that,
Right. Yeah, I would love to do it. If I could afford, I would so be on it this year.
I'll have to invite you anyway.
We got the vacation already picked out.
Oh, I see. Well, you got to be able to hit one of those 4 dates.
Wow, man, I had a list of questions, but you already covered so many of those. So the next event coming up the first event is June 20th.
Yes.
And that goes from June 20th to June 24th. So just to make it perfectly clear for the fat, lazy people, this is not a typical scenario. We're not going to roll up there on the 19th and set up camp and come and go back and forth from the campsite to the game. The game goes from game on until the last game whistle. So
exactly.
There has to be someone on the field. So if you're going to take a potty break or whatever, you got to have all of your assets protected.
Look, when I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years, okay, and I've used a lot of the experiences that I had from being in the service and geared it towards this event. When you're out in the field, you just can't get up and walk off the field whenever you feel like it. You just can't. We weren't allowed to take our cell phones out with us when we were on maneuvers and whatnot. I'm not saying it's like that all the time, but there's rules you have to follow. You just couldn't take off and leave base whenever you felt like it. So we're trying to instill that whole atmosphere here. We're going to have what's called an R&R section. It's basically where the showers are going to be. We are going to have hot showers. We're having the food catered in. There's guys have been going, oh, you guys are going to serve MREs. Well, we're only doing that because we want to add a little bit to the realism. It's not going to be a full onslaught of MREs the whole time you're there. I'm going to say maybe you might eat them twice while you're there. But we wanted to bring that part in of the realism into it. But it's just not practical for people who aren't used to eating them to eat those for 5 days, believe me. But, they are, back to the R&R section, you're going to have a pass from your general to go to the R&R section. It's as simple as that. You want to make a phone call to your girlfriend? You better get your general's permission.
Nice.
And we're taking points off for stuff. The whole point of doing something and making it real and having a system in place so that there's a winner involved is who follows the rules, who does what they need to do to win, and who uses the right strategy to do so. So
I'm here on your website, and I'm trying to find. Glad you brought it up. I'm trying to find the rules. So I've got.
Don't have them listed yet.
Okay, good. But that's coming in the update, right?
Yeah, no. It's a tricky thing because my rules are in place for my event. I had a spot on Battlefront's forum, and I talk about I kind of got in a little thing back and forth with one of their members over there, and we both agreed that rules are set up for each event differently. The rules that I have for my event aren't your normal typical paintball rules for other fields and for other places. They're basically the same. You're going to get shot, you're going to walk off the field. But from my event for realism, a guy's got to sit for a minute when he gets shot. He just doesn't get to regenerate and come right back into the game.
Right.
So we've got POW rules in effect. We've got radio rules in effect. How people can use their radios. We've got a lot of different things that we've had to take into effect to keep the game running at a fair and a nice even pace, and not get bogged down by too many. Well, this guy did that, and this guy. I don't want to have people fighting and arguing. So my rules are really detailed, is what I was trying to get at, and it'd be pretty hard for me to even put them all up on there and not be spending the next 2 months having people go, well, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? That's what we've got a briefing for when you show up.
Okay, cool.
The rules are there. I'm going to send them out to people in their package. You'll get a whole set of the rules.
Get your registration.
But for me to list them up there, and then I'm going to get a lot of people that aren't really going to even show up to play.
Just going to
They're
argue
just going
about
to give me a hard time and ask
Yeah.
me a bunch of questions. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was also asked the same thing, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was asked the same thing about, well, can we see some of the scenarios? Absolutely not. Because the whole purpose of this is you don't know what's going to happen from time to time. And if I start giving stuff away, it's not going to be a surprise to anybody when they show up.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll have plenty of videos and stuff for promotional stuff after the first event. So, yeah, totally guard your secrets, because it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. And a lot of the teams that I've been talking to this year, they just can't afford to go to as many events as they can. So everyone is fighting for the paintball player's dollar. So I definitely think you got an awesome product, and I totally think it's worth checking out and trying at least once. It's kind of like D-Day. Everyone should do D-Day at least once. Well, I think so far everyone should at least try Total War Camp once.
Yeah. And let me just answer a few other little quirks that I've gotten online.
Cool.
People say, well, you're going to have a lot of reps there. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of reps there. I've seen videos of, and I'm not knocking it. Believe me, I think it's a great idea what that guy in Oklahoma does for D-Day. It's an awesome thing. But that's a commercialized version of what I'm doing. The reason why we're doing what we are doing, and why it's a little bit pricier than going to a D-Day event and whatnot, is that we've taken away the commercial aspect of this whole paintball thing. The reason why people want to play paintball is because they want to go out in the woods and have fun and shoot each other, and it won't cost them an arm and a leg to do it. All right. People are shying away from speedball games because that's what happens when they go play speed. They got to pay for all this expensive gear, and then if they're out there shooting how many thousands of paintballs in an hour?
10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, in 10 minutes. Whereas if you're playing a strategic game of Milsim or Scenario Woods Ball, you're not shooting off that many. I mean, you shouldn't be if you're really trying to do the game and be tactical and be all military. Let's just put it that way. And then I get guys that ask me, well, how much ammo are we going to get when we're out there? You'll get enough to keep this game going and moving. Believe me, I'm not going to be chintzy with the ammo. I'm charging you guys, a pretty penny for this event, but believe me, it's all accounted for, and it's all going to be well worth it.
I think that's totally awesome. And just a side note for those of you who haven't tried this, I know it's a different event, but this last year at D-Day, my money was totally strapped, and so it was recommended that I play in the anti-tank unit. And for those of you who've played with me, I'm a spray and pray guy. I kill more trees and bushes than I do anybody. I mean, I went to Water Wars this last weekend, and I went through 2 cases of paint in one day, and I shot like 2 people maybe.
Yeah.
So I played an anti-tank role where I got eight paintballs. I got 8 paintballs, and I had to go buy more. And I had so much fun. I was running my butt off all day. So it's really as much fun as you want to put into it. This event is for you hardcore Marines on OCMI. This would be a perfect event for you guys. Mario, get off your fat ass and give him a call, man. You're not on the Corps anymore. This would be a great event for you guys. I really like what you're doing, and I think that it's something that everybody can enjoy.
Yeah, and when I said I was trying to take the commercial aspect out of it, what I meant by that is, you go to something like D-Day and there are a bunch of vendors outside, and that's what it's, it's kind of become a commercial event. It's not really just a
like
paintball event anymore. It's a place to go and buy equipment and stuff like that, and that's great in its own right,
Right.
But that's not what this event's about. This event is about playing the game and being strategic and learning a little strategy and having some fun and sharing it for a 5-day event. When I was a kid, I always said, man, I want to be able to go play war with my friends, and we used to build forts and all that stuff. This is grown-up war. That's all there is to it. And you got paintball guns to shoot each other with, and it's a lot more organized, and you're going to have a lot more fun than just running out and doing a couple events for a couple hours. And one more last thing that I wanted to say was, I had a thing on there today on my on one of the forums where I wrote about a scenario of mine, and I get people that say, well, how come it's got to be $850? I mean, that's so darn expensive. Or what, why are people paying $950? Why is it so expensive? And here's what I'm gonna say to that. You go out, you get up early in the morning, you go out you have breakfast. This is a Saturday. You get up on a Saturday, you have breakfast, you grab your gear, you hop in your car, you drive to your paintball field, you pay your field fee, and then you buy some paint. You go out, you shoot it up, you go buy some more paint. Come lunchtime, you might buy some snacks or some food on at their vending machines, or even at their little snack shack there. You go back out, you buy some more paint, you shoot. About 4 o'clock, they call it quits. You go home. 6 o'clock, you eat your dinner at home, and you're sitting around. And then you ask yourself, how much money did you spend today? How much money did you spend to play paintball for one day? The answer could be anywhere between $75 to $125. But your experience is over at 6 o'clock, and it's done.
Right.
And you had to come home and cook your own dinner, and you had to make your own breakfast. Everything here is getting done for you. It's all inclusive. And you're getting to take the gear home when you're done. Let me tell everybody that. You get to bring the gear home. So, and we've made it so that there's some decent gear.
Yeah, it's not just, crap spider stuff.
No, it's not.
Sweet.
Matter of fact, Vulcan is providing the uniforms, and BT is providing the guns. So, we've pretty much got it, both of them nailed down to an agreement on the type of markers that we're using.
Sweet. Well, maybe we can have you back in May, and you could show us some of the stuff if you'd like, and get people more excited just a month before the game.
Yes, that would be great. I'd really like that. We're going to do a full video shoot of the first event anyway. So if you have me back after the first event, I'd be more than happy to bring that video along.
Oh, heck yeah. We'll be glad to have you. And is there anything else you'd like to shout out before we say goodbye?
I want to shout out to my friends at Milsimcor. I think that what they're doing is a really good idea. They've definitely onto something really there. They're really trying to promote this sport the same way I am, I think.
They're great guys. And you guys, for our audience out there on the podcast and live, if you guys are going to be in the Ohio area in June, give us a call or drop us an email, info@pblive.tv. We are a non-profit public broadcasting corporation, so we can loan you the gear if you guys like to cover this event for us. I can't guarantee you get to play, but you get to see a lot of awesome stuff, and I'm sure Jim might feed you. Give us a call, and we'll have you on in May if that's okay, Jim.
That's great.
All right, thanks a lot.
Look forward to it.
Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back with Sawyer Says.